Hello, Sunrise Girls. First, before I even start on this cup is freaking cute, and I got it from Hobby Lobby, and now I drink water all day, so key to staying hydrated is getting yourself something very cute. I kind of did that in celebration of finishing week 2 from our 6-week slowdown, but today I want to talk about the Taurus full moon. I have had messages coming in for you guys all day for this full moon, so I really want to dive in deep with it. And make sure this gets to you before the full moon is over. Know that this energy will continue over the next 3 to 5 days, so you'll be feeling it pretty strongly, but today is definitely the strongest. So, oh my gosh, the energy here. So, full moon and Taurus. Taurus is a sign that is deeply connected to our body. Taurus is the body, and I want you to think about it like this. In the zodiac wheel, we have Aries and then we have Taurus, and they're in an order for a reason. Aries is our soul essence. It's who we are at our core. It is undeniably us. It's how we come into this world. And then we move into the second house, which is Taurus. And Taurus is our body. It's our self-worth. It's our material world. And so thinking of Taurus as the body can really help you, especially when you're looking in your chart. And I'll go over a few examples of that. Just showing where you need to really integrate and connect to your body in that area of your chart, because that is how you're going to feel the most aligned. I think when we get into our, is this a hair? Yes, it is. Sorry. I can tell if it was a crack on my screen or a hair on my shirt, and now we know. Anyways, so when you are thinking about connecting to your body and thinking about the spiritual, that's where I was going with this. Okay, so a lot of times when you're people like us who are very interested in spirituality and energy and things like that, you can kind of get a little lost up there. And the thing that Taurus does is it integrates all of that spiritual energy, all of that etheric energy, and it brings it back into the body, because Aries is also very spiritual. It's how you come into the world. It's your soul essence. It's very spiritual, and then you ground into your body. And so where you have this in your chart is where you really need to bring that spirituality and put it into a material form. It's also very tied to your self-worth, and Taurus being Venus ruled and Venus being connected to the goddess Aphrodite, those types of things. I think a lot of times we connect Venus and Aphrodite and all of those things to relationships, which they are a part of that and outside of us, but everything comes from within. So all of those Venus and Aphrodite, those types of love-based things, that starts within you. That's your self-love, that's your self-worth, and you have to ground that within you first before it can be put out into the world, and before you can truly call in a very balanced life in that way. So today when I was doing my meditation, I'm just looking at my journal here, what was really coming through is that this full moon is conjunct Uranus, and Uranus is the planet of sudden change. It's the planet of innovation. And so with this full moon being conjunct with that, we are going to be feeling sudden change and innovation when it comes to connecting back to our body and whatever house our full moon is in. So for me, I have the full moon in my 5th house. And the 5th house is the house of self-expression, creativity, romance, children, all those types of things. So I should expect that there will be some sort of sudden change when it comes to the way that I show up in those areas. And I've definitely been feeling that as I've been launching a lot of things that I have been kind of holding back on and waiting to launch for a long time. So I'm launching my aura paintings today. Which you can check that out if you want to, because there is a holiday sale going on for the launch. But that's a big sudden change for me, because it's something that I have been working on for a long time, but I haven't really had a launch date. I haven't really pushed myself to that level, and so I'm pushing that out and doing that in a way that's kind of very innovative for me. So that's with my self-expression and my creativity. I'm showing up a lot differently. I'm realizing that I cannot keep doing things the same way. And that is what this full moon is going to show you, is you are going to have to step into the life that you have been trying to build in a very intense way. There's no like slowly seeping into this now. Taurus feels a little uncomfortable with this sudden change because Taurus is grounded, it's stability, it's being very like, doesn't, kind of stubborn, you know. You don't want to change the way you're doing things, and you have a little bit of resistance there. And so with this coming in, it's going to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a little scared because this feels like not very stable. But the gift of it being in Taurus is that this sudden change will be stable. So I want you to go and look and see where you have Taurus in your chart. So if you have it in your first house, this is going to have a lot to do with yourself. It's going to have to do with the way that you are showing up in the world. It's going to have to do with the way that you express yourself. It's going to have to do everything that has to do with you. Something might change suddenly, and that could even be just cutting off all your hair, because the first house has a lot to do with appearance. So you might decide to change something suddenly with your appearance that kind of catapults you into this new way of being. If it's in the full moon's in your second house, then this could have a lot to do with your material wealth. It could have to do with your self-worth. You might finally come to this place where you say, I cannot think about myself this way anymore, and I'm not going to. And then you let that change. If it's in your third house, this would be communication. If you're on social media in a creative sense, this could be a big change or disruptor there. It could have to do with your siblings. If it's in your fourth house, it has more to do with your inner world or your home and family. You might decide that you need to move suddenly, and that's the way to be more stable. If it's happening in your fifth house, like I said, that's self-expression, creativity, romance, kids. So any of those areas, like I said, for me, I feel like it's really within my creativity. I'm finally embracing all of these ways that I've wanted to be creative and not putting myself in a box anymore, and that feels uncomfortable. But I know that the sudden changes that come in from this are going to be very powerful. And that's what I want you to remember as we're going through this. The sudden changes that come in are going to be more grounded. They're not going to totally sweep you off your feet. You have this stable foundation in Taurus. You just have to trust the change. And so if it's in your sixth house, this could have to do with your daily habits, your health and wellness, your routines. It could have to do with your work life. So you could have a sudden change in your job. You could have a sudden change in the way that you're taking care of yourself. You may recognize, I need to switch from doing this thing to this thing when it comes to your health. If it's in your seventh house, that would be around relationships. And so you might find yourself in a way saying, I need to do relationships differently. I need to dive into this in a different way than I have been willing to before. If it's in your eighth house, then that would be around, it could be around money, but it would also be around the deeper taboo subjects in life. Sometimes even something with your spirituality could all of a sudden come to the forefront. You might just discover a new psychic gift that you have. If it's in your ninth house, that would be around travel or higher knowledge or spiritual knowledge or expansion in some way, or you may even step into a teacher role when you have been feeling like maybe you're not ready to do that, and then all of a sudden you get thrown into this role. If it's in your 10th house, then it could have something to do with your career. You could have a big career change, or something comes in that completely changes the trajectory for you, or something comes in that you've been waiting for a long time, and it's a big change, but you're on this grounded, stable foundation. So if it's in your 11th house, this could be around community, it could be around technology, it could be around creation in a way that is not mainstream, that you're really starting to put out into the world. This is also a house connected to social media. So if you are a creative and you're online, then you could have something happen there as well. If it's in your 12th house, then this is very, very good change for you on a subconscious level, on a spiritual level. You'll feel like you are just completely shifting when it comes to the way that you see the world. And there's a lot there to dive into, and it's really important today and the next couple of days that you are grounding as these changes come in, as these downloads come in, as you recognize, oh, this is where I need to go towards, this is what I'm going to be doing now, and like this feels a little bit scary and different, but know that you're safe and grounded in this Taurus energy, and that this is building stability for you over time. Taurus being Venus ruled means this full moon wants you to really be in your body. And by be in your body, I mean pay attention to the sensory things. Get yourself a bouquet of flowers and really notice those flowers. Let yourself be in nature. Let yourself connect to the elements, fire, water, air, whichever one calls to you. Not only that, but things like taking a bath or getting a massage or just doing a mirror ritual where you look at yourself and your body and you just say, oh my gosh, I love you. It's very much like connecting to the sensuality inside of yourself. Letting yourself wear clothes that you love, letting yourself be snuggled up in a very soft, warm blanket, really just enjoying the pleasures of life. And that's what Taurus is about. It's about remembering that we live on the planet Earth. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, because I can get very lost in my mind, and I can get very lost in the spirituality of all things, because it's fun and it's exciting. But remembering that I'm on planet Earth and that this place is magical and that we can be so connected to it, and that the etheric can connect to the earth. It doesn't have to be separate. When I see a flower, when I'm holding a bouquet of flowers, I am connected to that spiritually, but it's right here in front of me. And something about that just feels so special. So let yourself really connect to the senses. Eat a meal that you love. Love on somebody tonight. Taurus is also very, because it's Venus ruled, very good for like sensuality and sexuality and connecting with others in that way. So that's kind of your full moon message. I do want to pull a card for you before we're done, but let me know what house you have Taurus in. Also take a look at where you have Scorpio in as well, because we are in Scorpio season, so those themes are still very strong. So if you can kind of juxtapose, I think that's a word. You know what I'm saying. Those two things, you can kind of get an even deeper meaning. For me, Scorpio's in my 12th house, and then the 5th house is in creativity. So I've been in the subconscious of how I allow my creativity to shine, how I allow myself to show up as an artist, what I let myself do in that area. So you can kind of like put those two themes together. If you need a little help, just comment to me where you have Taurus and where you have Scorpio, and I'll give you a little guidance there. But let me get my deck of cards real quick. Okay, so we're going to pull from, this is the Kantaji Oracle. And I really love this one when it comes to connecting to the earth. It's very nature-based. So I'm going to pull one of these cards, and this will just be kind of our theme for the full moon, and this will kind of guide us through the next 2 weeks. Okay. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, so we got a fierce desert flower. And I love this card so much, and I'm going to read it from the book because the descriptions here are just very beautiful. Okay. Long ago, in the future, desert was as lush as a jungle. His people adorned themselves with great bright flowers, and they frolicked in happiness and ease from the rainbows of morning until the sparkling dew of night. Over time, Desert became so proud of his beauty that he believed he was better than all the other lands. He ceased to exchange with them, and instead he became obsessed with the sun's power and allowed only the sun to influence his land and people. Desert changed. He became dry, stark, vast, hot as the sun in the day and cold as the stars at night. Many of his people withered and died, but some of them refused to succumb to Desert's madness. Some sent their roots deeper to tap into the hidden waters far below the sun-baked crust. Some spread their roots wider in order to immediately soak up the occasional gift of rain that the compassionate other lands sent now and again. Desert's people developed tough skins and attitudes of resilience and radical acceptance that were respected by all the people of the other lands. Every now and then, Desert's people would burst forth with flowers infinitely more beautiful than the blossoms of the easier times. Their brilliant blooms opened not without joy and with an edge of defiance, fervidly asserting and celebrating their vitality in the unlikely face of a stark land. Keynotes: thriving in harsh conditions, ardent vibrance in what appears to be a barren situation. And then we also have, let's see. Okay, I want to read this part. Blossoming is either imminent or in full unfurled wonder. This blooming could be an aspect of yourself, a relationship, a project, or the culmination of a long labor or path. Whatever it is, something in you or in your life is ready to explode in color and presence and to be seen. And as is the purpose of any flower, this is something that will draw further support to you once you let it show. Okay, so this message is so beautiful, and I feel like it's connected even deeper by these other aspects that are happening that I did not talk about. But Pluto is finally direct, and Saturn is also going direct as well next week, and they're both switching into their next sign. So we are actually closing out a humongous karmic cycle right now that's lasted 20 years. And so you should be feeling some relief in some area of your life. And I think that's what this card is saying, is it is time for you to bloom in a specific area. You have done the hard work in this area, and it is time for you to shift into your full bloom flower power. Some things are not meant to be hard forever. Some things are just lessons for a while. And you can think back and look at what house you have Capricorn in. Because that is the house that you have been doing this 20-year hard work. I have it in my second house of self-worth and material wealth. So I'm very excited for it to move on out and let me have learned the lessons. But you can look and see where you have been learning those lessons as well, and that's where you're ready to bloom. So things are changing. Things are going to feel a little lighter in some areas of your life. I think we're about to be entering a really beautiful holiday season, and I'm excited to continue to celebrate that with you. But yeah, that's your full moon message for today. I love you guys. Happy full moon.